Galactic Survival Assessment Center hummed with the cold efficiency typical of all Zenthari facilities. Commander Vexter stood before the observation panel, his translucent skin rippling with what his species considered amusement. Before him, representatives from 47 different species waited inside separate holding chambers, each one prepared for the same test, a trial that would determine their species' survival classification within the galaxy. The parameters are simple, Vexter announced through the universal translator, his voice echoing across the facility. Every species will be stripped of all technology. Every tool, device, and artificial construct will be removed. You will then be placed into an Earth-like environment. He paused for a moment. If you survive for 72 hours, your species will receive a Class C survival rating. Anything less. He let the silence finish the sentence. The galaxy has no use for species that cannot adapt. Anna pressed her face against the transparent barrier of the human holding chamber, studying the artificial wilderness beyond it. Her brown eyes carefully scanned the terrain. Beside her, Louis cracked his knuckles nervously, a habit he had developed during their 3 months of diplomatic survival training. "This is insane," muttered Ambassador Chun from the corner. "They're treating us like laboratory specimens." "Because that's exactly what we are to them," Louis replied calmly. "We're the new species on the galactic stage. They want to see if we break." Anna turned toward them. At only 26 years old, she was the youngest xenobiologist on the human delegation. But 3 years of survival work in the Amazon rainforest had taught her lessons no academy could match. "Then we don't break," she said simply. The Zenthari had made one critical mistake. They believed technology was the only difference between advanced civilizations and primitive ones. They had never encountered humanity. When the barriers dropped, chaos erupted across all 47 testing zones. The Voltraxians, who relied on bioelectric systems, were helpless without their conductor suits. The Zentharian hive-mind fractured instantly without neural amplifiers. Species after species struggled as their evolutionary paths had made them dependent on technology to compensate for biological weaknesses. The humans reacted differently. Anna hit the ground running. Louis followed half a step behind. Within seconds, Anna was analyzing the terrain with the sharp instincts of someone trained to read ecosystems. "Rocky outcrop north," she said quickly. "Water source about 200 meters east. I can smell it. Deciduous trees suggest temperate climate." She kept moving while speaking. "Priority list. Shelter, water, fire, tools." Louis nodded immediately. "I'll handle tools and fire," he said. "You locate water and shelter." "Copy." From the observation deck above, Commander Vexter watched with growing confusion. Instead of clustering together in fear like most species, the humans had separated. But they weren't panicking. They were working. Anna reached the stream within 3 minutes. She confirmed the water was flowing and began identifying edible plants along the banks. Her hands moved quickly, checking leaves, stems, and roots. The Zenthari had tried to recreate Earth conditions, but they had made one mistake. They made the environment too safe. There were no apex predators and almost no parasites. The test had become a challenge of resource management rather than true survival. Meanwhile, Louis had reached the rocky outcrop. His eyes scanned the scattered stones with focused concentration. "Flint? No obsidian, but quartzite," he murmured. "Not perfect, but workable." He selected 2 stones, one spherical hammerstone and a larger flat piece that would serve as the core. Commander Vexter leaned closer to the observation display. What was the human doing? Louis sat cross-legged and raised the hammerstone. His first strike was precise. A sharp crack echoed through the testing zone. The second strike removed a stone flake. The third, fourth, and fifth followed in rapid succession. Each strike was controlled, guided by a deep understanding of stone fracture patterns that most civilizations required thousands of years to discover. "Impossible," whispered Silra, a Zentharian observer. "He's shaping stone tools without instruction, without equipment, without technology," Vexter corrected quietly. 60 seconds after picking up the stones, Louis held a crude but functional blade. By 90 seconds, the edge was refined into a cutting tool sharp enough to slice flesh. A tool that could have existed 50,000 years ago on Earth. Anna returned to the outcrop to find Louis already constructing a fire bow. He had removed his bootlace and attached it to a flexible branch. Using the quartzite knife, he carved a notch into a flat piece of wood. 89 seconds for the knife," he said with a grin. "Getting slow in my old age." Anna laughed. "Show off. I found a cave overhang for shelter, clean water nearby, and cattail roots that could feed us for a week." She held up several strands of plant fiber. "Cordage material. We'll have fishing nets by tomorrow." Within 6 hours, the humans had created a base camp that would have impressed their Paleolithic ancestors. A fire burned inside a ring of stones. Fish cooked over green sticks, Anna had woven a basket from bark strips. They crafted bone needles and sinew thread, and they began tanning a rabbit-like animal hide using its own brain tissue. By then, the observation deck was packed with alien spectators. Word of the humans had spread quickly. "They're not using technology," said Ambassador Jector from the Voltraxian delegation. "They're using knowledge. Skills passed down through generations." Commander Vexter slowly nodded. "We forgot something," he said quietly. His normally translucent skin turned pale with an emotion his species rarely displayed. "Respect. We forgot that technology isn't the first tool. The first tool is the mind. The body." He gestured toward the display where Anna was now teaching Lewis a more efficient knot while monitoring multiple tasks at once. "Every species here evolved to rely on tools to overcome their limitations," Vexter said. "But humans..." He paused. "Humans evolved to make tools out of anything. Out of nothing. They are the tool." By the 72-hour mark, 31 species had already been evacuated due to failure to meet basic survival requirements. 12 others barely survived with no fire, no water purification, and almost no shelter. The humans had built a small settlement. When the testing barriers finally lifted, Anna and Lewis walked out to find the entire Galactic Council waiting. Commander Vexter approached them slowly. "Your species," he began, pausing as if choosing his words carefully. "We designed this test to measure basic survival competence. You have exceeded all parameters." "How?" Lewis glanced at Anna, then back at the commander. "You took away our technology," he said calmly. "But you can't take away 4 million years of evolution. You can't take away 10,000 generations of knowledge." He held up his calloused hands. "Every human child learns that our ancestors survived the ice ages with nothing but rocks and persistence. Every human knows we walked out of Africa with stone tools and conquered an entire planet." He smiled slightly. "We didn't lose our technology, Commander. We are the technology." Anna stepped forward. "You asked whether humans could survive without tools," she said. "But that's the wrong question. Humanity doesn't survive when we lose our tools. We survive because we can make new ones from literally anything." She gestured toward the stone knife Lewis had made. "That's not a trick. That's our superpower." Across the observation deck, representatives from 47 species reacted in their own ways, claws tapping, skin colors shifting, antennae vibrating. The translators identified the reaction as applause. Commander Vexter's skin rippled with deep respect. "The Galactic Council will reconvene to discuss humanity's classification rating," he announced. Then he added quietly, "Though I suspect we may need to create an entirely new category." Later, as they were escorted back to their quarters, Lewis nudged Anna. "Think they'll ever run that test again?" Anna smiled, still holding the quartzite knife. The knife that had changed everything. "Not a chance," she said. "We just taught the galaxy something important. Humans don't have to be the strongest, or the fastest, or even the smartest. We just have to be the most adaptable. And nobody adapts like we do." In the end, the test was never really about surviving without technology. It was about understanding something far more important. Humanity's greatest technology had always been humanity itself. Please follow my channel for more videos. One click from you can change my life.